of territory, a lot of different islands, and then a very fragmented shipping market. So what Shipper is doing is basically consolidating that shipping information into one platform, kind of like what Deliverr or other companies in the US is already doing, and then helping various SMBs as well as enterprise customers access the best shipping rates. So that's a core business of the business of Shipper, and they get a small margin for that service. What we've seen is that after they built out that small margin business and increasing volume, they're able to treat and serve these SMB customers along the value cycle. So when they're growing, Shipper is able to also provide fulfillment services for these merchants, and then of course get a higher margin of that business. So the company serves both very kind of mom and pop companies as well as medium and large enterprises in both shipping and fulfillment as its main service at this moment in time. So part of it is that we really like what they're doing in terms of how the Indonesian e-commerce market is there. So as you might know, like e-commerce is really important in terms of selection, pricing, as well as speed to market in terms of shipping times, right? So after Amazon Prime started, it's been really important to have 2-day shipping, 1-day shipping, and that is where the competition lies. Also, you have a very interesting dynamic in the market where you have 2 large players that own about 30% of the market each. That is Shopee and Tokopedia. So because of that, of course, each of these players want to operate their own fulfillment centers, similar to fulfillment by Amazon in the US. However, because it's such a fragmented e-commerce landscape, no one company dominates. And it's in the incentive for each individual smaller company that wants to sell through these marketplaces to be able to serve all marketplaces simultaneously. And that's where Shipper wants to really, they want to promote their services so that each smaller company, each kind of 3P seller merchant can simultaneously manage their back-end systems in terms of shipping, as well as their front end, kind of like what Shopify does in the US. So that's definitely the future business of the company. The team is very experienced. Phil, who's a co-founder CEO, he's from the local area, but also grew up and spent a lot of time in the US. He was CS from Stanford, former McKinsey, as well as former investor at Floodgate, as well as supply chain at Columbia. So what you see in terms of the C-suite is that a lot of experience in terms of e-commerce. You have engineering leads at Tokopedia, as well as people from Amazon. So they really have a good understanding of e-commerce and hustling in that market. So what you see here is our view of what the potential exit and current valuations are. So right now, the current valuation is at 600 pre multiple. And in terms of gross revenues, if you look at the base case, we think that this year they're going to be able to hit about 225 million in terms of gross. And given kind of the exit valuations, we think a fair valuation would be a 3x valuation going forward. So in terms, they're growing at 2x potentially year over year every year, along with the e-commerce market of Indonesia, which is growing from about 55 billion this year to about 85 in the next couple of years. So we really think that the market is going to bring Shipper up with it, as is already done. And then the valuation is very, very fair in terms of the current multiples and where they're actually investing in. So overall, we really like this deal. MarketX is putting its own money, of course, in this deal as well, and we're syndicating out a part of our allocation to potential other investors. So overall, here's the investment thesis for us. We love the Indonesian economy in terms of the GDP